Hey guys, Trevor with Endure Hunt. We're out here bear hunting and the bears are not moving. So we're going to go over a few of the things that I've learned as a new hunter. So if you're new to the channel, we do giveaways every single month, and all you have to do to get entered is subscribe or follow us on Instagram or YouTube. This month we're giving away Remington gun oil wipes, which we use to take care of our firearms in the backcountry. So number one, most important thing I've learned about hunting is just the challenge that it is. When I first started about hunting and imagined myself doing it before I started, I thought you could just go hike through the woods, see an animal, and then, you know, use some precision shooting and just boom, that'd be over. But the animals that you hunt, they've evolved for a long time to be able to survive, and they're very smart. They learn that, you know, when they feel pressure, and then they learn to avoid, and they're very good at hiding. It's no easy challenge to be able to pursue and hunt big game animals or even smaller animals. They're all very smart. Just being able to embrace the challenge and really dive in. You're going to be pushing yourself physically, mentally, and in a lot of ways challenging yourself to learn a lot of new things. Second thing I would say I've learned is learning about big game specifics. When you're hunting an animal, so right now we're hunting bears, you got to really know a lot about bears. You can't just go roaming through the woods all willy-nilly. You got to know where they den up, where they live, what they feed on, how they react to different weather conditions, and trying to make sure that you understand all of those things really helps you to be able to find the animal to start with, and then be able to actually pursue it, to actually hunt the animal and actually get a kill. Knowing all those specific things about all the different big game, that goes for deer, elk, mountain lion, the list goes on, but there's all these specific, very unique things for each animal and how they react to different environmental conditions, what they eat. All that stuff is super important, and I'm not the best person to give you all that answers, but there's tons of resources online. Number three, understanding your gear and needs. There's a lot of gear, different hunting gear out there, and being able to understand what you need is very important, especially when backpack hunting. Weight is limited, and you really punish yourself, and it takes it out of you if you really are not packing well. My first hunting trip I did with Cade, I packed 60 rounds of rifle ammunition, and I hiked it 3,000 feet up the mountain. And I got up there, and Cade was like, "Why do you have 3 boxes of ammo?" And I just was like, "Oh, I don't know. You told me not to run out of ammo, so that's what I packed." But it was I just didn't know as a new hunter, so I just overpacked. I do not do that anymore. Now I only have about 8 to 12 rounds in my bino harness. And yeah, hiking was brutal that trip for sure. Gear is very specific, and I will say that there's tons of gear out there. There's binos, rifles, scopes, I mean, all sorts of different things, tripods, trekking poles, your pack itself. All of that can be very varied for what you want, but understanding your system and getting used to it just takes time and practice, and just kind of getting used to it and perfecting your system. My number 4 thing I would talk about has to do with wind and thermals, and I have a very basic understanding of wind or thermals. I wouldn't say that I'm most advanced at it, but pretty much south-facing slopes, and if it's really been hit by the sun, the airflow tends to go upward, and when it's cold and it's in the shade, say it's a north-facing slope and it's in the shade, that airflow tends to go downward, especially when the sun starts to go down. The cooler it is, the air tends to go down into those bottoms. But also understanding that those saddles and kind of those mountaintops and like deep in those river basins, sometimes when the air doesn't have anywhere to go, it tends to swirl, and so that can get you in trouble. And so hunting, you kind of need to learn what's the wind doing right now and what's it going to be doing in the future. I can't tell you, we've done a few stalks where we've been moving in and we thought our wind was good, and then all of a sudden wind changes and that's it. I mean, the bears just know we're coming, they can smell us, and then it's game over. So understanding thermals is very, very important, and understanding like, okay, if he's right here, I may have to walk around the other side of the ridge, hike up to match level, and then peek over, sneak over, see if I can get a shot on him. Is much more effective than just going straight up to him, where you're exposed visually and potentially with scent. So my number 5 thing I've learned, I would say, as a new hunter, I feel like it's super key to learn, but more importantly, it's more important to just get out in the field and to practice the things that you learn. You know, you can learn a lot on YouTube, but there's nothing that's going to replace the level of inexperience that we have as a new hunter with going out there and practicing the things that you learn. So, you know, last week I was out and I just watched a video about thermals, and I was shed hunting, and I was out in elk country. And so I was practicing, and I actually took a dog with me, and I was practicing stalking in on these elk as I was shed hunting. You know, and I used a lot of this thing. I would spot elk up the mountain, and so I would go around to the backside of the ridge, hike up, and then peep over. And me and that dog, we got to within 20 yards of elk, and we got to within 30 yards of deer, and that was a group of 30 elk and 6 deer, which I was pretty impressed with that. The dog I had with me was really quiet, and so it was kind of fun. But it was fun to start practicing the things that I'd learned about on YouTube and actually start implementing that, so I actually have an understanding in my mind of how that kind of stuff works. So I've been really excited about that, trying to really build that knowledge base yourself, and that application I think is huge. Practicing the things you learn and trying to get out there, whether that's thermals, packing your gear, using your scope, using your rifle, whatever it is, all that stuff is very, very important. You know, hunting is very individual based, and for me as a type 1 diabetic, it's an added challenge. But I really want to learn from everyone here. I think learning is super, super important, and so I would love it if you guys put in the comments things that you've learned as hunters, and just sharing that pool of knowledge with everyone, I think, can increase our hunting capabilities as a unit, which I think would be awesome. Stay tuned for next week's episode. If you have topics or ideas of things that we should cover, put it in the comments. Let us know what we should film. We're kind of trying to do the best we can, but we're excited to learn and build this community where we can all learn and grow together.